Jai Hind and welcome to Dev Talks on Watching China. I have with me, as you all can see, Lieutenant General Ravi Shankar, who's been taking us through the story of China. In this series, we've taken it upon ourselves to analyze the big news makers coming out of China and their impact on Chinese outlook towards the rest of the world, India, and of course, others. This is basically a preamble or a short explanatory of what is to come when we are going to go live on Watching China to give you an introduction of what is happening and how to analyze China. A lot happens in that country that we need to read, we need to analyze, we need to understand so as to realize what we need to do to counter our biggest adversary, China. Thank you, sir, for joining me for this episode. A short and crisp one on the Chinese population.
Yeah, looking forward. Let's start.
So, we read, I think this has been covered in the mainstream media, but a lot of people have not deeply analyzed this entire question. The Chinese population grew by 0.034% over last year, over the previous year, in the last year recorded, which is a number of about 480,000 people or 480,000 new births that have taken place. To me, when I look at that, it gives me two big questions, and then this is something that I've been trying to answer. How many people did they lose with COVID? There's a report that talks about 17 million people that would have died during the disease. And the second part is, what is their actual population? When I do a back regression work with basic arithmetic, it tells me it's about 1.23 billion people, apart from what is mentioned all over the world today. Here is what I analyze of it. I'd like you to kind of give us the story about the impact on the economy, the Chinese structure, the people as a whole, the defense forces, of course, and what more do you see?
That's a very logical question. The actual figures per se don't matter. Why? China is where it is with the population it has. And that population is changing. The demography is changing. If that demography is changing from here, whatever the change in demography which happens, what will be the impact on China and the rest of the world is more important to all of us. And if the population is what it was, what you say it is, then the problem is even more difficult as I see it. Now, there are two, three aspects to this demography. One is the number of births are reducing. If the number of births are reducing, the overall population is not increasing. That's one. Number two, if the number of births are decreasing, and the number of aged people are increasing because of increased longevity of life, then the aged population is increasing. Aged population is a non-productive population. Okay. Now, between the two, if there is more as the age population increases in China, the working hands in China will reduce. And if the entrance into the labor industry, if the birth rates are following, the entrance into the labor industry is also reducing. Which means the middle, which is the productive part of China, is getting squeezed. So there are effects for each. When you look at the working population, till now China rode on a population bump. The population, they say the dividend, cheap labor, plenty labor, young labor, that is changing. So it's no more cheap, it's no more plentiful labor, and it is, the labor is getting costlier, which means the productivity of China will become costlier. It will not be competitive. So that is one aspect. The second aspect is aspirations of people increase as countries become well off. So the Chinese youth also are more aspiring. They've gone into more colleges and all that, and they don't want to do hands-on work. Right? The blue-collar workers and the laborer class is reduced, which means again loss of labor means lesser productivity. So the economy is getting pinched. Right? At the other end, you look at the older people. If the older people are increasing, which it is there are nearly 20% aged people over 60 in China. Their consumption will reduce. First, their consumption pattern will be different. They need more health. They need more X, Y, Z, right? They are a dependent economy. They are those are the guys who are dependent on the economy. And China doesn't have a great pension system, nor does it have a social security net, which means China has to spend more on that. So, in one hand, your working population is decreasing, the dependent population is increasing, which means the families can't pay for themselves fully. Neither is the government in a position to pay. So, there's a problem, right? So, this is a major issue. Overall, if you see, it is expected that as times pass, the dependent population, right, versus the working population, that ratio will get skewed. That is, older people plus younger people, lesser than 15, who are dependent on the parents, is going to get skewed, and it's going to head to 50%. That means for one working person, there's a one non-working person in China. So there's a problem. And then when the one-child policy was there, China was selective in abortions, and so there's a gender inequality. There are more males than females, especially the working, the childbearing females are less. So if and they don't want to get married because they've got educated, they got jobs and independent. So you have a case where China has surplus males, lesser females, and those lesser females don't want to get married. And if they do want to get married, they don't want to get children. So that means that it's going to feed into the basic thing that the birth rates will fall. As China keeps aging, birth rates will fall. And they've gone below the replacement rate. Replacement rate for any population is 2.1. They're at 1.3, which is hardly anything. Right? Which means they're looking at a shrinking population. So there's a problem. So all these, if you put together, it's going to impact the economy. There's no the dual circulation policy of greater internal consumption won't work. Okay. And now if they go for automation and all that, automation has a cost, plus the fact that it's going to deprive people of jobs. Right? So it will swing the other way. So there is a major problem coming up for China. Now the issue is this, what you brought out, that the population of China is, say, already 1.2 billion and not 1.4 billion it is. If it is 1.2, 1.3 billion as it is today, the population has started shrinking already. And this is the view of many people, which means that going far, ahead, the rate of aging and the rate of population shrinkage will only increase. That's a problem for China. And all this is a major, mega problem for China. We'll see how they come out of it.
They're doing quite a bit, as a matter of fact, and the CCP has told all its members to have 3 children. How far that is going to be achieved? Big question.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah. And there's a lot coming out from their own media. So, if anybody's wanting to read more about it, please do read the articles published by South China Morning Post, Nikkei Asia, and many other, East-looking news print agencies. As a matter of fact, this has also been covered by the Wall Street Journal and Reuters, New York Times. It's been covered all around the world. So this is something which a lot of analysts are looking at as the future problem of China, one amongst many. Thanks, sir, for this short, crisp, and I think very great explanation of what China is going to go through with regards to its population crisis. And to all the viewers, stay tuned for these short, crisp updates coming into you very fast, actually. We'll try and do this about 2 times a week so that we're able to give you a lot more information with regards to China. Stay tuned for the live session. Till then, sir, Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.